Hello, it's 6 p.m. on Sunday evening. Time for another Steve's Place. Tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to talk about our magazine, Extraordinary Science and Technology. But first, I want to remind everybody about our conference coming up August 10th, August 9th to the 13th in Albuquerque. I encourage people to get signed up. We still have a 40% discount. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone there. And for those who are kind of wondering what it's about, I'll let Greg
Been going
start.
on for more than 40 years, 25 speakers or more each year. So that's like 1,000 or more of these presentations you can get. And the fact is, a lot of these guys are inventors, and they had stuff that they have been showing. This is the place where they come to show and tell. And many of them are passed away. And so the only place you can go to recover what they gave us, what they gave to the world, is Tesla Tech.
Magnetic motors, water, theory, and inventors uniquely displaying their great inventions.
Over 50 years of the greatest minds. You have Royal Rife, who invented the Rife microscope. Google him. You have John Keeley, he was not a charlatan. Victor Schomburger, another brilliant mind, specialized in vertical lift. My name's Marco Rodin. I'm the discoverer of the decocubit. I just completed a 4-hour workshop, and it is available for you to see if you subscribe to Tesla Tech.
I was playing around with these Rodin numbers, but then I realized there's an application, a really cool one I've been working on for 10 years, and that's basically an electron model. I can model these numbers like their frequencies in an X direction, a Y direction, and a Z direction, and they roll back into themselves. The model is amazing. It's three-dimensional. It has all the properties I've been looking for an electron model. I'm very excited about it.
You're talking about giants and free energy, fusion, electronics, mathematics, esoteric knowledge. You must check this out. It's a subscription only, rightly so, because you're talking about wisdom that you can't find anywhere on the internet.
Breakthroughs or discoveries, videos that you'll never find anywhere else.
My name is Mon, and I come from Georgia. I've been coming with family and friends to the Tesla convention for almost 10 years. The most prized possession was coming back home to Georgia with the CDs. So when I just found out that all this material is available on YouTube for a subscription, we can go on YouTube, we can subscribe, we can sit together, chat, see what this conference is about.
This is a great channel. For only $9.99, you get the legends of this field.
And you'll find the greatest array and world's biggest assortment of free energy, over unity, zero-point energy, space power propulsion, medical, counterculture, breakthrough technology, all hosted there. It's the largest video library ever assembled.
Live on very good videotapes.
And you can get involved. You can be part of this process.
Write emails, have direct contact with the speakers, and guess what? If you're truly inspired with what you see over there, next year you can join us.
How can I compete with that? Anyway, tonight we're going to talk a little bit about our magazine, Extraordinary Science and Technology, and it's how it got started and everything. I've been doing magazines since it was about 1984, first with the International Tesla Society. And then later on, I started doing exotic research, which is a previous magazine I had, Exotic Research. This is our Tesla coil edition that we did many years ago. We cover alternative energy and alternative medicine, and I have always believed that the power of the pen is the greatest power of all. We pass knowledge on through writing. In the ancient days, the Indians and before there was writing, people passed things on by voice, and it got told from one person to another to another to another. And nowadays, that's been we're just starting to do the same thing when we're doing it on video. But the problem with video is video can't get you the depth of knowledge that the written word can. Writing is a sign of intelligence. Without writing, we would not be able to achieve anything. Writing made the difference between us being the Native Americans that got wiped out and the immigrants that were able to take over the world, because we had the power of the pen. It was to pass on our knowledge from generation to generation, from person to person. Uh, there's a reason why English um, is one of the greatest scientific languages of the world, and that's because we have things like prepositions in them, of, by, and that. Those all have mathematical connotations to it. A lot of the foreign languages do not have the preposition structure that the English have, and therefore it is probably the most prevalent technical language in the world. At least it was back in the 80s and 90s. Um, although Spanish may be the most widely spoken language, English is the language of science. The only other language that comes close to it is German, and there's a lot of German interaction as far as our verbiage goes between the English and the Germans. It's the Anglo-Saxons. I mean, the Saxons came from German. But anyway, I've been doing magazines since 1984. I started off with the Tesla Society. I did the magazine Extraordinary Science. It started off as a bulletin. We had a bulletin, and then we converted the bulletin into a magazine. And we did that to 1997 when I left. And I left to form Exotic Research, and that's when I came up with the Exotic Research Report. The Exotic Research Report was a highly respected. It's a good technical magazine. There's a lot of good information here that is just as valid today as it was when they were written. I done like special issues in the Exotic Research. I had like this one here is our magnifying transmitter issue. I've done one on UFOs, not UFOs, but anti-gravity research. We may get into some of that later on tonight. And then later on, when I left the Exotic Research because of 911, it caused complete collapse of my business, and then I had to go and start a new business, and that's where I came up with Tesla Tech Inc. And we started up with a magazine called Extraordinary Technology. Now, this is what my webpage looks like. Our online information. And in the center, the top layer there, you see like there's four illustrations there. You have the Exotic Research issues, and you have the Extraordinary Technology back issues. And what I've done is like an Exotic Research there. If you're interested in what we did, you go there, click on that logo, and it brings up, this is the last Exotic Research one I did, but if you look to your left, you have every year that we did that. And then I also took and put the table of contents there. And that kind of gives an idea of what we covered. And I also included, back then, one article. And we covered all kinds of stuff. And there's a lot of plans in here. Like in this particular issue here are the working plans on how to build a Geet lawnmower. They're step by step, complete with pictures and blueprints and everything. And the plans are inside the magazine. And we have things like the bioelectric field enhancer. It's really, it's supposed to be the hot stuff these days, but it started back in 1999, and here's the magazine that we introduced in, the bioelectric field enhancer. So there's like a ton of information from back in the 90s. Once I left Exotic Research, and we formed Tesla Tech Inc., we came up with the uh, magazine, Extraordinary Technology. And this is the last one I actually put on here. I need to update this one of these days. And what we did is we carried over the tradition of exotic research. We had 64 pages of good, solid information, and tried producing it like 4 times a year. Sometimes it worked, sometimes we weren't able to do that. Again, yeah, you have the magazine and that, and what you need to do is just go to my website and click on that top layer right to the left of the YouTube box. You know, unfortunately, I'm not a Superman. I'm not a super programmer. I've done this whole website in HTML um, from scratch, hard coded. None of this what you see, what you get editors. I always had to do it myself. But unfortunately, I'm just overwhelmed. If you looked at that one magazine in 2006, 2008 is when this last issue was done. We've done about a half dozen issues since then, but unfortunately, Terry Brady passed away, and it's kind of put me in a bind where I just don't have time to do everything. And as a result, a lot of things don't get done quite the way they should. You know, and what I have is also was Tesla Tech Inc. I moved to Nevada, then we became Tesla Tech LLC. And we started this other magazine called Extraordinary Science and Technology. And this year we try to get one done a year at this point. We started trying to do 4, but it's just impossible, not with the manpower I got. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of these online. We have 9, we're up to 8 issues now, issue 8. And the latest issue, issue 8, issue 8 looks like this. Yeah. But we've covered everything. I mean, we've covered nuclear waste, why we will never be free of a nuclear power plant is because, quite frankly, they need those power plants to make nuclear weapons. Yeah. Stuff like that, we did cover it thorough. This particular issue, we covered the construction of the Hoover Dam. You know, the Hoover Dam would have been a Tesla project. Tesla, he dreamed of harnessing the power of Niagara, and this would be the West Niagara Falls here. Unfortunately, Hoover Dam is one of the greatest engineering projects the world has ever seen. If you looked at the equipment and some of the stuff that came from that, I mean, we're talking about hard hats, basic stuff. The tunneling into mountains at high speeds and everything. But all this information is in our magazines. Our back issues are available for $9.95 postpaid. You can get them by calling me. My number is 520-463-1994, and we have like a complete sets. And this here is a complete set. You're looking at right here is 22 issues plus the 9 issues that we have with the Extraordinary Science and Technology. And we're selling those for like $200, and we're throwing in a year membership. Our goal this year is to get back into print, and we're going to need your help to do that. I need volunteers. People who could do things like I could get a free year of Premier LinkedIn because I just don't know how to use that. But I have access to it. I don't know how to do Facebook that well. Um, and I'm looking for people who do know that to help us out here and help us promote the science and technology that Nikola Tesla, the world's greatest scientist, um, created. Um, and we need to get young people involved. Uh, I know the young people. You got to reach them through the social media these days, and you also got to we have to have more dynamic websites than that. And I'm looking for people who might want to be a volunteer and help us out. And one of the things we can do, like uh, you come to our conference for free. If you do that, I mean, um, we take care of our volunteers. Uh, and I just don't really exactly know uh, how this is all going to end up. I'm expecting to have a slam dunk conference come come August. In the last 10 years, I've focused mainly on producing that conference. And I think the conference is one of the most important things we do. It's an opportunity for people to get there and show exactly what is possible. The biggest impediment we have to advancing science and technology is the naysayers who believe things are impossible. Now, I know there are people out there who want to be the flat Earth and that, but there's some things, that you know are beyond, proof. Once we left the atmosphere, you can see the globe. The flat Earth should be a dead issue. But people want to push that. I just don't understand it. Why are we turning our backs on science and technology? I have a 4-year degree. I treasure it. I took a lot of hard work. I was working 2 jobs, going to school full time. As an engineering student. You know, and raising a family at the same time. It's tough. I cherish my education, and even though uh, we disagree with some of the stuff that's taught, doesn't mean we throw out the baby with the bathwash. You know, it's important that we write coherently and be able to take our ideas, though they may be unorthodox, and be able to transmit them to other people who could read them and build on them. You know, um, I think we should encourage people to get an education. Nothing can replace an education. Um, just don't be trapped, to where that you think that that's all there is, and that they're perfect, because they're not. You know, uh, your teachers, may not be perfect, but we have to start somewhere with a common ground of knowledge. One of the things that ties us together is language. You know, And the way we transmit our ideas are through things like our magazines and that. Um, when we first started these Tesla symposiums back in the 1984, one of the important products that came out of that symposium was proceedings, written proceedings. Because once something is in writing, it carries a lot more weight than it does just someone talking about it. Talk's cheap. But when people take the time and effort to sit down and gather the thoughts and write a cohesive uh, piece of paper, your ideas, write it down, then it becomes relatable and people can understand it, and then they also believe it. Uh, right now we do a conference every year. Uh, you see me beating the bushes to get people to sign up right now. I have a discount for like 40% off. Incredibly, 50% of our signups for the conference come after I mail out our program. The program is written, printed, and mailed to every member. You know, and also everyone on our mailing list. We have like about 10,000 name mailing list. So the written word is a powerful tool. Sure, you have your, you know, orators, like Daniel Webster and that, but it's the writers that people remember throughout history. People like Jules Verne, for instance. When people write stuff, people listen, or people can read it, study it, mull it over. When you write it, you just, like right now, I could ramble and everything, but when I'm writing, um, I'm forced to put my thoughts in a coherent order, so to make it easy to follow. Um, when you go to like the court and that, one of these things, I've been in court, a lot. Uh, um, my emotions that I write, those are what carry the day. I doubt if my oral arguments are, because I'm not a good orator. Um, anyway, I like to reiterate, our magazines. We do have our $200 complete back issues of all the extraordinary technology and extraordinary science and technology magazines there for $200. Um, I also have back issues of exotic research, and just recently, this last week, we have picked up the Journal of New Energy. These are the books that Carl Fox put together back in the late 90s, early 2000s, you know, um, and they're very highly technical journals. You're not going to get them anywhere else. There's a limited amount of them. And as you look through these people, a lot of the people that have written these people have passed away. They're no longer with us, but their writing lives on. The power of the written word, the power of the pen has destroyed armies, nations. The power of the pen is the most powerful weapon in the world, short of a nuclear bomb. An idea it can promote the idea whose time has come, which is a very powerful force. But if you can't transmit it effectively, it's not going to go nowhere. I think one of our biggest problems we have is a lot of the inventors are out here working in their garages and everything. A lot of them aren't very good at writing. They have good ideas in that. Well, here's an opportunity where you can get your stuff, because I'll help you. Get yourself in a coherent platform there where people respect you, and when people can read what you have to do, read what you have to say, then they can are more willing to invest in your idea and everything, are willing to help you. You know, um, I can't think of a greater power than writing. It's one of the reasons, you know, I became, like when I joined the society and that, one of the volunteer positions I took was doing the was as an editor of the journal and that. It's the it's one way you can reach out to people, and people can learn from you through the written word. Um, a lot of times people can misspeak. Um, the equivalent of that would be misspelled words in that. But when you sit down and you write, like when I'm writing an article on that, and I read it over and over and over again, and I have my friends kind of look it over and see if they understand what I'm saying. It gives that time for thought, to permeate, the paper there. You know, sometimes I swear I could take a book and put it underneath my pillow and know just about everything there is in there. Not really, but it seems that way sometimes. Um, if I had to rely on the written and the spoken word, like when I went to college, I would have never made it. It's only through having the books, and being able to read the books, which expands upon what your professor says, because no one remembers everything they want to say. Uh, uh, it's just, it's just one of those things. Uh, Thoughts come and go. And anyway, I want to get back. Okay, I want to talk a little bit too about our YouTube channel. If you haven't signed up as a member, well, first of all, if you haven't subscribed, I ask you to please go to your thing, give us a thumbs up. Every time we watch something, that you like and that, give us a thumbs up. Those thumbs up count. Those are the videos. Those are the speakers that we will go out of our way to get more of. Is when you give people a thumbs up. That's also what YouTube does to get us referrals. The more thumbs up we get, the more they listen to us. Right now, I have the Extraordinary Technology Conferences up there, the Exotic Research Conferences, and the Global Science Congresses. I have half of them up there. I'll be working on later on this month to try to get those up there. Then we're going to have the Conference of Free Energy up there. Okay. And that will, and also right now I got some videotapes from the International Tesla Society and the conferences I put together when I was with them. I hope we get those converted from VHS into DVD soon because time is wasting right now. And with that, we already have 1,000. We're shooting for a couple of thousand videos. Okay. For those of us, for those of you who want to find things easily, if you go to our home page, you'll see this big yellow box there. And we have like the Tesla Tech channel, okay, which is everything on our home page there on the channel. But then I also have the conference directory and the speaker directory. Because I don't know about you, but YouTube can be awful confusing. And it throws so much material at you, you can't find it very easily. By doing our conference directory, you'll be able to click on our on the conference that you want to see, and it brings up the playlist which has all the speakers in that conference. Then we also have the speaker directory. The speakers, you may know who you want whose video you want to see. So you just go and click on that. It takes you to an alphabetical thing, and you pick out the last name there. And you click on that. It brings up all the videos that we have online in our on our channel. It makes it very easy to find things and to get around. And maybe a future project may be to take and to turn this into topics too. I don't have that yet. Okay, so subscribe to the Tesla Tech channel. See the emerging breakthroughs. We have hundreds of DVDs of innovators and legends. Many of these people are no longer with us, unfortunately. We all got to go sometime. I have less days ahead of me than I do behind me. So, anyway, so keep in mind, we do a lot of what people consider ancient history, just like my magazines. Okay, our magazines, like Exotic Research, there's an article talking to you about the magnifying transmitter, why it's so important, and some aspects of it that you'll never find elsewhere. We have things on like anti-gravity and that. These older conferences bring out the leading thoughts, okay, of the time, okay, and you're not going to see some of these people ever again, but at least you can see what they were thinking and where they were headed, and maybe you might have the key that they were looking for, you know. And whether it be in writing through the magazine or on the video, it's important that you look at the old technology and see where things came from. The biggest problem we have with technology is that people don't listen. Okay. And so by reading, you know, is a form of listening with a different part of the brain. Okay. And like for example, this is why it's important to study where the ideas come from. When the United States military was trying to develop a railgun, they had a problem. You know, they would push so much current through these rails that the rails would literally explode. And they couldn't figure it out because they were taught, you know, uh, all about the Lorentz transformations. And with the Lorentz transformations, they don't have a thing called longitudinal currents. If you go back to the original Ampere-Newman equations, you know, for current in a wire, there's a longitudinal component. Okay, the thing is the Lorentz transformations were developed, you know, for like radio on that, you know, and in air, the current carried by air is very negligible. You take it down, you round it off to zero, you know, so all of a sudden you lose your longitudinal component. Well, when you're pushing current through a wire, all of a sudden that current is there, and the more current you push through, the more important it becomes. And things that were um, a major issue, all of a sudden are nothing, and the stuff that you thought were nothing become very important. And when they plugged in these Lorentz, the new numbers using the Ampere-Newman equations, all of a sudden they were able to start predicting how much current that rail could carry and where it would break. You know, like I say, you know, it's the past through tomorrow. You know, you got to learn the past. If you don't know where you were in the past, how are you going to know where you're going to go tomorrow? You know, if you don't know where you've been, how are you going to know where you're going to go? And a lot of the ideas that were poo-pooed and disproven at the time, all of a sudden, these days are now possible because um, science, real science moves forward. And the stuff we can do with materials today is nothing like that Tesla had to work with. So a lot of the ideas that Tesla had that a lot of people couldn't get to work, all of a sudden are now very possible because the technology is changing. The materials we have to work with, you know, make things viable that a century ago was a great idea, but the material science was not there. You know, time is taking its toll. So we have an exclusive membership option on the YouTube channel. It's like $9.99 a month, gives you global access 24/7 to hundreds of our members only videos. When you join the Tesla 2 channel, um, you're helping support us. Okay. And by us, I'm talking about all of us. It helps support our conferences. We're trying to get the magazine back up print. It goes towards that. And it goes to things like getting equipment to convert videos from VHS to DVDs, you know, and then from DVDs into MP4s, which we can put up on YouTube and that. Um, I don't make anything on this stuff. In fact, fortunately, between Social Security and I do get a little bit for utilities and that. I'm pretty much can hang on to that, you know. The thing, you know, with science, sometimes I think, you know, money is an obstacle. We need it to get things done, but sometimes too much makes you too much of a target. I've seen that happen before. Uh, anyway, get an exclusive membership. It's $9.99 a month. You really help us out, Um, and when you join up, you get these new member badges, that will show up on your comments and that, it's very important. Yeah, I can't stress how important membership is. Um, Plus, you know, it's there's a lot to be telling people I care. So if you like what we do, smash that thumbs up guy. And if you haven't joined, join. You can also give gifts. Um, any gifts will help us. Like I say, it all goes back to producing stuff. And be sure too, like on your emails and that, when we send out emails, open some up every now and then. If you don't uh, open things up, then what happens is your email gets registered as unmarketable, and then these Google and Yahoo and all these major companies have taken it upon themselves to not even bother delivering it, or if they do, they throw it directly into your spam box. So always check your spam filters to make sure that you don't have good stuff going in there, and open it up every now and then. And for those um, who may be like me, I have a very limited income. Um, the one thing you can do is you click the thumbs up. That don't cost nothing, and you be a subscriber because that's free too. Every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. Even thought or just telling people about us. Uh, but to get back to the magazines, you know, uh, right now I have a lot of magazines, a lot of back issues. And the problem I have with all these back issues is that uh, what's on the back issues is not in people's heads. And that's the whole goal, is to get it from the paper and the people's brain. And the only way that's going to be done is if we can get these back issues out. Uh, I go to a lot of conferences. We sell a lot of the magazines there. Um, we we pass them out, um, and like I say, it's a gift of knowledge. Christmas is coming up. You may want to consider, you know, giving the gift of knowledge. You can't go wrong with a magazine. Maybe register somebody up for a conference. Um, Anything. And then I'm going to go to comments right now. Here's Maria. Good to see you there, Maria. The problem with mainstream science today is that it is very sponsored and is very controlled by whoever pays the most. Um, and that is true in a lot of ways. Unfortunately, our society um, is too much money oriented. And when I've seen time and time again, like when people have a really good idea, or I'm working with one of my partners right now, and he has a process to take and convert uh, slag into back into precious metals. Okay, first of all, slag is corrupted metals, and when you see corrupted metal and you run it through an X-ray assay, it's going to come up as garbage, because it's unrecognized. Uh, a corrupted metal will have electrons ripped off of it. It'll be encased in calcium and in glass because this stuff has been refined. You take the ore out of the gold mine, you take it to a refinery, and they take in the do this process on it, okay, to get the gold out of there, or the precious metal, whatever they're looking for. And then what's left over is like this foamy stuff, and they just take it and they just dump it. And so you have these huge piles of slag all over this country. And I have a friend who has a process who could take that slag and restore the electrons. In fact, the process, he has to grind it like to a certain size, and then he has to have so much water, and then he has to have it at a certain temperature for so many days, and they have a catalyst A, B, and C, the secret ingredients. And when all that's happening, you can lift up the lid to the pot, and inside that pot, the cauldron there, you'll see like a lightning show going on, and as the electrons start snapping back into place and everything. And what's happening is that slag is becoming uncorruptible. It's being restored to its original configuration. So once we're done with that process, we squeeze it out. You get the light blue liquid, and then you dump your chemicals in that cause the minerals to fall out. And then all of a sudden you end up with metal on the bottom, and you take that metal and you can go and assay it, and you'll find as much as 300 ounces per ton of gold in that thing. Uh, the reason it works is because the researcher is very meticulous. He takes, and every time he does something, he'll have like a plate with a tail on it, a paper tail. And every time something happens, he writes down his code. He has a secret code he puts on there, and he writes down what is it, what is going on with that. So he can replicate this process over and over again. It is ancient alchemy. This is the way things get done. Unfortunately, people say this is impossible, and walk away. Or it's like, oh, I want this. And they, instead of working to help you develop it in a honest, legitimate way, they will try to steal this from you. They will try to go around one guy to get to the other guy who has a piece of the pie and everything, and they'll try to cut the inventor out. I see this over and over and over again. It's the biggest impediment to real research I know of that's going on out there. And and yes, I know we would be better off if we were knowledge oriented or spiritually oriented. Money. It's not the love of money that's evil. It's the love of money that's evil, not the money itself. Unfortunately, some people don't know when's enough is enough. And that's another problem with this company. You see, the Democrats were castigated, and they are labeled as socialists because they help people. I have never understood why it's a moral hazard to help a person, yet it's not a moral hazard to bail out a bank. I've never seen the reasoning there. As a people, Tesla was for the people. That's one of the reasons that he was castigated and banished, to the far ends of the earth, is because he developed the wireless power system to give power to the people, without charge. The power is there. Tesla himself said it. His only mistake was thinking that he had to put the energy into the atmosphere, okay, or into the ether, in order to pull it back, and that was what Warncliffe is all about. He found out later he did not need to do that. The power is already there. He could tap into it, and I believe with a 6-foot aperture. that's another story for another time. And that's the kind of information you'll be getting in our magazine if you get our magazine. You know, uh, I'll be putting together an order form soon, but if you call me, I can get that to you. You know, uh, for those people who are like me, who have very limited funds and everything, I encourage you to come to the conference if you can get there. If you come to the conference, you know, and you're willing to work, you know, and I have a space for you. Um, I never turn anyone out the door for lack of money. So, and Phil, I will be getting all the DVDs up online. I'll have to check to see that. I do know Phil Schneider was supposed to be at a global science conference, and on the day he was supposed to show up, the night before, he was stabbed in his bed. Um, and for those of you who don't know Phil Schneider was into like the Dulce Tunnel and the different tunneling projects, underground tunnel projects that the government was into back in the 90s and that. So anyway, I'm looking all like at our brethren there in Ukraine. Wireless power would have been would have been a godsend, you know, to the Ukrainian people. It would have been much harder for the electrical system to be destroyed if it was being pushed to the ground. Um, and my heart goes out to them. It goes out to people who are in the code, you know. I was in the military. One of the reasons I got out after about 9 years is because one time I got chilled to the bone out there. Once I got chilled to the bone, I couldn't handle the code uh, like I could as when I was younger. And so I decided to get out and go to college and take them up on my GI Bill and became an engineer. And someday soon, I'm hoping to get some T-shirts here. Now, that's another project we're working on. You know, um, we just have all kinds of projects. You know, not enough hands to do them. You know, so and I'm expecting someone to be coming up here pretty soon. If you'd like to come on line here and join me on the show here, I put the StreamYard number or the link there. Um, that will get you to the studio. I think that the YouTube is very powerful. I really appreciate YouTube. Uh, I have to deal with some of the censorship they have, but the importance of YouTube is so big that when we have all these videos up there and people give us a thumbs up, what that does, it kicks off the YouTube algorithm to where it moves up on the list of recommendations. So when someone is looking for like Tesla or uh, one of the topics we cover, like the diskless turbine or bladeless turbine, uh, wireless power, when all that comes up, then we get recommended to all these people who are looking that kind of stuff up, which allows people to learn about us. That's one of the reasons I stick with YouTube, despite all the censorship. And I've already been knocked off twice already due to what they call medical misinformation. But I don't. A lot of the stuff we do at this point is archiving, and I don't think medical information is supposed to be archived. You know. Um, so and they get upset, when there's a certain keywords, we don't mention because we got hammered for them, Uh, but we're good to go now, and we'll stick with them. I see like the Twitter and that, and they're trying to do away with their censorship and that, and I don't buy it. Censorship is always there. Censorship is always going to be there. The question is, who's the censor? In a forum, being an editor, I'm kind of censored, because um, there's just some ideas I won't put to paper because paper is precious. It costs money to print, and so paper is a form of real estate. And a lot of these people, um, well, there's a lot of ideas out there that they're already getting enough coverage through the normal channels, like their schools and that. And that's not who we're there for. We're here for the experimental scientist, the guy who has an idea, goes out, puts everything together, and makes it happen, or tries to make it happen. Sometimes things don't happen the way you expect them to happen, but that's important to know that too. It's part of the process. You know, experimental science is one of the most powerful tools we have. You know, unfortunately, we've entered the stage, of computational science, where you have mathematics, as the tool. Instead of mathematics just being merely a science, and all of a sudden it becomes the method. And like Tesla said, you got these scientists who follow all these equations, equation after equation after equation, you know, with no basis in reality because they don't take and check their equations with the reality, and they end up off on this Netherland there that's totally imaginary, doesn't exist, can't exist, you know. So yeah, we're about experimental science. We're about science. We don't poo-poo scientists or scientists. You know, um, sometimes they just get rigid on their ways, but that don't mean that what they're teaching is totally off base. If anything, it's um, it's incomplete. You know, um, knowledge, and that's one of the things that magazines come in. On a magazine, you can sit down and you can expand on an idea, and that you can't normally do online here or in a video. Magazines are important. Conferences are important. One of the reasons we do conferences is so people can come in and physically demonstrate their ideas. What you will find is that people can spin the greatest yarns of all time, but they're just yarns. People lie to you all the time. You know, um, this last 4 years, 6 years, it seems like people will embrace a lie before they embrace the truth. You know, the the importance is that you need to be able to prove and show what you're talking about, and that's the importance of a conference. You go there physically and see the stuff. I mean, you can see a lot of videos. Videos are out there all the time. And what do you got? You got you know, Star Trek, for instance. Guys or Star Wars. You have people going to a far off planet. Totally imaginary. You know, but it's not real. If they had to come and at a conference, they'd have to bring their spaceship and show you. Let you hop in there and write on it. That's the difference between a conference and film. We use film to record our conferences. The videos we put up online are rough cuts. I mean, they're shot, and that's what you get. They're not glossed over like some of these conferences. They have to process their videos and clean them up and everything. Well, that's not the truth. The truth is the video that's shot right on the spot, that's what happens, you know. And so what if someone goes nuts over there on the video and that's part of what happened. It's a historical record. That's what's important about our conferences and our conference videos. They are they're a record of what happened. They're meant to refresh your memory there in that. The magazines go hand in hand and expand it. Books expand it even more. And you'll find that a lot of times our magazines refers you to books, you know, certain books, because you can't get everything you need to know in a magazine article or on a videotape. You know, it just don't happen. You know, and unfortunately, um, the I love the proliferation of the of videos and that, uh, and writing actually. The backside of it is a lot of the stuff isn't true, you know, and you have to start becoming very discerning on what is true in that. You know, you have to start using some logic filters. You know, does this make sense? You know? Uh, and look for it in a lot of different sources. You know, and always question, even if it's the gospel, you need to question it. You know, uh, that's where the doubting Thomas is. Sorry, I'm one of the original doubting Thomases. I'd be the guy who would have to put, you know, his hand of Jesus, you know, side there, you know. So and science can become a religion. The thing is we got to break free of that. We got to question it, you know, all the time. Things need to be questioned. Um, that's the essence of Tech. We question everything. You know, don't take my word. You know, try it. You know, my boss. You know, I had a really tough boss. You know, when I worked for Unisys. You know, he wouldn't let me get by uh, with sloppiness and that. You know, and they'd always do the 20 questions games. You know, and you had to be able to answer every question, and then you had to be able to apply the math that you're supposed to learn in college. You're supposed to be able to apply it to your job, you know, and prove it mathematically as well as physically, you know. So, yeah, I believe in the power of the pen. I believe in the power of experiment. Uh, I believe in the power of my eyeballs. You know, I've seen it time and time again when people are going. Um, Don't look here, look over here, you know, to throw you off, you know. It happens all the time. It's causing the destruction of our society. So, if you have any, I'd like to remind everyone one more time, you know, uh, get some pens. And I don't know who Richard Lighthouse is. I'm not, you know. Yeah, I had demanding bosses, but demanding bosses are those you learn the most from. You know, I'd rather have a demanding boss than someone who lets you fail because they didn't teach you what they were supposed to teach you. And that's, you know, what my boss did. You know, he questioned everything I did. You know, and you had to be able to back up what you said. You know, that's what the conference is about. That's what Tech is about. That's what our magazine is about. You know, the one thing about when you're writing something, you tend to be a little bit more careful because when it goes on paper, and these days on video, on the internet, It's there forever. You know, so you gotta be real careful and really discerning about what you say and what you do. You know, so anyway, with that, I'm gonna call it a night, and I want to thank everybody for coming. And go ahead and smash that thumbs up if you would, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And if you can possibly do it, become a member, or encourage someone else to become a member. Yeah. You all have a great night and a happy new year. It's coming up real fast, and I'll see you next month, which is just a couple of days. Bye.